Good evening. It's Thursday night, so it's the live. So Fireside Chat Live. Welcome. If you come on live, say hello. If you watch on replay, do to hashtag replay. And if you've got any questions, either or, just pop them in the comments. I do have my phone next to me. Because sometimes I don't always see any the comments and messages that come up on the laptop, so I have to check my phone. So yeah, give us a wave if you're here, because like I said, I don't always see what it says for some bizarre reason. I better not reload the page, otherwise I might lose you all. Right, so welcome to tonight. So tonight I thought I would basically talk about work. If you're still working when you're perimenopausal, the women over 50s are the largest economic growing group in the country. So there's a lot of women at work, and because of financial responsibilities, more women are working later. 20, 30 years ago, they would probably possibly have got retired when they got married or gone back after they've had children. But now most people are continue to work. Changes in pension keeps women at work for longer. So it's important that whilst you're working, and if you're struggling with your symptoms, that you do get the support. As we know, symptoms can be physical, psychological or cognitive, and they can affect you in various different ways. So cognitive ones, you could have the brain fog, poor memory, poor concentration, all that type of thing. Psychological, it's changes in mood, anxiety. Some people even have psychosis. And then you've got physical symptoms. You've got this, insomnia, joint pain, the flushes, dry skin. Going back to psychological, you could become overly emotional, etc., etc. Mood swings. So there's a whole raft of symptoms that you can suffer. And if you're working as well, it can impact how you manage. It can, if you're really struggling with symptoms, you're going to getting GP appointments or getting doctors or trying to get doctor's appointments can affect your work attendance. So you might having to make, depending on how flexible your employer is, you might have to make time up, or you're trying to get appointments out of hours, outside work hours. You may be struggling if you're not sleeping, you're tired, you're overly tired in the morning, you're struggling to get to work on time, or your increased absences because of your symptoms. For example, you've got insomnia and you're just exhausted and you can't go into work. So there's all this raft of complications. Or you may be in work and your concentration's affecting your ability to sort of do anything. Then your memory could affect the ability to do your job, and you're making mistakes. And a lot of employers, when you make sort of multiple mistakes, you end up going on getting brought into meetings and put on performance plans and things like that. And working in occupational health, I meet a lot of, speak to a lot of people who are struggling in work, and they're on the verge of going on performance plans. And some of the time, it's when they go into these meetings to get told that they're not doing, there's an issue with their work, that they go, oh yes, well, the reason it's like that is because I've got A, B, C or D. So as soon as you start struggling, let your manager know that there's something going on, they're not feeling so good, or you're struggling with your sleep, or you're trying to get doctor's appointments, or even if you don't know what it is, just let them know. They can't help you if they're unaware that you're not well. They will just think, what's going on, they're not doing the job properly. And that's why you end up in these meetings. What you could do is, if you know it's sort of menopause, you could have a look to see if you've got a menopause policy at your company. Some companies will have a separate policy. Other companies will have may just have a well-being policy, and it might be hidden somewhere in the well-being policy. So it's worth having a look at that, and if they haven't got one, it's worth putting the question, where is our menopause policy? What support are we going to put in place for people who are menopausal? There's loads of information online they can help write. BSI have done a standard on menstruation and menopause to help with policy writing. ACAS has got information as well, and there's a whole load of others. Balance, Newsom Health, they've done, you know, adjustments in the workplace and things like that. So it's worth checking with your policy first. So speak to, you know, and find someone that you feel comfortable speaking to. If you can't, speak to your immediate manager. Is there another manager who you feel more comfortable with? Failing that, go and speak informally to HR. HR departments are not just there to sack people; they're there to help you. And I speak to HR departments on a daily basis, and a lot of the time I'll go back after doing an assessment with an employee and say, oh, there's this, that and the other going on, and they'll go, we had no idea that was going on. So it's, you know, it's important that they know as well. So you can always go and just say, I just need some informal advice, can you just tell me where this is, or I just need to talk to you about that. But find someone you feel comfortable talking with. You could request an occupational health assessment. I've done several for menopause, finding out what's going on, what treatment they're on, if anything, what the symptoms are, and then I will give them sort of advice on, based on the training that I've done, sort of for the menopause training, sort of using, you know, the things from the menopause plan to help them better manage their symptoms sort of going forward. So you could start off with saying, I'd like an occupational health assessment. And what they normally do is they'll find out what your role is, then what's going on, what symptoms you're getting, what treatment you're on, how it's affecting you, and then they'll come up with recommendations, and they're the reasonable adjustments. So in the UK law, reasonable adjustments are part of, I think it's the Equality Act, so the employer has to put in reasonable adjustments to help the employee if they, you know, if they've got a mental or physical disability. And they can be anything from flexible working hours, working from home, allowing you to attend appointments, you know, having, you know, employing a coach for you, etc., etc. They can be anything, and it's up to the company whether they want to do it. I mean, we can recommend all sorts of things, but it's got to be, you know, it's got to be reasonable. It's not going to be, say, you know, like give them 12 months off and 3 secretaries, you know, if they're just an admin assistant type thing. We can't go to OTT. But if it's something that will help you stay in work and do the work to the best of your ability while you're trying to manage your symptoms, they're more than likely happy to do it, especially if they can go, you know, you can get sort of the medical backups through OH as well. So the type of reasonable adjustments I would recommend are things like, you know, flexibility with working from home. For example, if they are having a lot of hot flushes, that means they've got the privacy of their own home. They can go to the bathroom, they can get changed. You know, it's just easier, you know, they can control the temperature better in their own home than you can if you're in an office with, you know, 50 other people and you're on one set temperature with one less set lighting. Other things are things like, what else? If they're struggling with concentration, asking to move desks to a low traffic area. So if you're sat on a row of desks and you're at the end of the row on the main sort of drag where everyone's going backwards and forwards, or you're near the water machine, or you're near the coffee room, or you're near a door, it can be really distracting. So maybe just asking if you can move desks to a quieter area where you're not getting the number of distractions that you're getting where you are. Again, headphones, asking for noise cancelling headphones if you're really easily distracted is another simple thing that can be put in place. Making sure you've got access to water, because remember, you dehydrate really quickly. You need to make sure you're drinking plenty of water, keep everything moist, They keep the brain nice and water, because the brain is 70% water. You want to make sure that's getting plenty of water. If you're not hydrated enough, it's going to affect your bowel, it's going to affect your blood pressure, it'll affect your skin, it'll affect everything. So you want to make sure you're really well hydrated. So making sure you've got access to water. If you're having hot flushes and things like that, have you got somewhere where you could store change of clothing? You know, is there somewhere you can put, you know, change of clothes, you know, just in case you suddenly have a hot flush and you soak through your top? Or if you've got a really heavy period and, you know, you've leaked everywhere, is there somewhere where you can store clothing and somewhere where you can get changed and get cleaned up? For example, if you've got toilets that haven't got sinks in them, have you got a disabled loo you could use, have access to, just so you've got room to get changed, so you can freshen yourself up without the fear of somebody walking in that's coming to the loo. And maybe if they're having renovations, ask them about making cubicles sort of all-in-one cubicles that have got sinks in them as well. What else is there? What else can you ask for? Flexibility with, if possible, flexibility with hours, especially if you've got insomnia and you're struggling to sleep and you're not getting enough to sleep till the early hours. Maybe is it possible you could start later? Attending appointments, I always put in attending appointments as a reasonable adjustment, because they're sometimes hard to get out of hours. I think doctor's surgeries probably only work between 8 and 6. Most offices work between 9 and 8 and 6 as well, so it's really a struggle. What else? I remember Lauren, who's my trainer, she sent some information out, and it's called the Black Cardi Club, and it's having some long black cardigans or dark coloured cardigans just left in the office, where you can go and just pick it up and use it if you think, oh my god, I've flooded through my trousers, I don't want people to see, or you've had a hot sweat and you don't want to walk through the office like it's a wet t-shirt competition. You can go and get the cardi, put it on and walk out and keep yourself covered. Or if you're cold, if you get cold flushes, because some people just don't get hot flushes, they get cold flushes, you could put the cardigan on for that. Another thing is, if you're wearing uniforms, having a look, are they natural fibres or are they man-made fibres? If they're natural fibres, that's really good, because your skin can breathe in hot flushes. It draws the sweat away from the skin to keep you cool. If it's man-made fibres like polyester and things, they're basically just keeping you in an oven. So, can you swap them for some natural fibre alternatives? If you've got a uniform, have you got layers, can you take your layers on and put them off? Take them off and put them on as your temperature changes. If you get too hot, can you take them off? If you get too cold, can you put them back on? And the same sort of in offices, can you, are you able to do things like that? Or if they got protocol, like we were at school, you weren't allowed to take your bracelet off unless it was like 40 degrees. Doing things like that. Reasonable, just letting you go for therapy appointments if you chose to go down the CBT route to try and manage symptoms, making sure you can get to those appointments as well. You could always ask to get referred to a menopause coach. If you've gone through the occupational health route, they suggested they do A, B, C and D, and you're still struggling and you're not getting any better, you could say, I know a menopause coach, is it possible I can get referred to her to work through her program to help me? The aim of reasonable adjustments is to try and help you stay in work and be as productive as you possibly can. You're better off being in work than off work. If you're off work for more than 6 months, it's unlikely that you probably ever go back. And also, if you're putting in, if you're in the point where you're struggling, you're starting to struggle, you lost confidence, your self-esteem, you suddenly think, oh my god, I can't do this job anymore, and it could have been a job you're doing for 20 years, and you suddenly think, I can't do this anymore, it's too hard. You start thinking, I'm going to have to have my notice in. So speaking to your manager, don't make rash decisions. Speak to your manager, say, I'm really, really struggling with this. Can they review your workload? Can they review what you're doing? Can they give you some alternative jobs for a period until you get settled on whatever treatment path you're going down? For example, if you're going on HRT, can they, just review it to see how your HRT is going, or if you go on CBT, review it once the CBT is finished to see how you're doing. If you're working with the coach, how are you doing at the end of that period of working with the coach? Rather than making a rash decision and going, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to have my notice in. Get the reasonable adjustments put in first, see how you're doing, and then review it again. The last thing you want to do is make a rash decision, hand your notice in, finish work, and then a few months later feel better and think, why on earth did I do that? And I know before I knew what was going on, I remember thinking I was going to hand my notice in, I couldn't do the job anymore, I'd lost my confidence. And it does knock your confidence. I've been doing it for several years and I suddenly think I can't do it anymore, I'm going to have to give up. So don't speak to somebody. I didn't, because I didn't know what was going on. I just sort of carried on and gave myself a talking to and sort of pull myself together. But get some adjustments put in first. Then, if you're still struggling, then think about it, or go in part-time and stuff like that. You could put in flexible works requests, reduce your hours for 6 months and see how you do, and then if you can, increase them if you want, or leave them as they are. So there are lots and lots of options. The main thing is sitting down and having that discussion with your manager. Sit down and think, what would help me do what I need to do and keep me in work? Because if you leave work, you've got a big you're losing that wage. If you pack your job in, it's costing you a lot of money. What is the cost of, besides just losing the money, what's the cost going to be on the family, on relationships, on, not just immediate relationships, but the wider relationships? You're going to lose your social circle from work. You're going to lose sort of your outside of work social circle, because suddenly your finances have been cut in half and you don't have them. Is the sort of loss of money going to impact, a relationship with your partner, because you suddenly, gone from having some spare money to having no money because you're not working anymore? And what's that impact going to have on you? That's going to likely make you feel worse, which is not going to cause more stress, which is going to make you feel worse, etc., etc. Trying to think of something, So the main thing is speaking to your manager. Find, has your employer got? Do they do menopause awareness training? So managers, when you go and speak to your manager understands, knows what you're talking about, and can signpost you where to go. Or have they not done anything like that? If they haven't done awareness training, maybe make a suggestion. I know a menopause coach that can do awareness training. Point them towards me. Or have they, set up some companies have sort of groups for like cancer, people that have gone in through cancer, or have got neurodiverse children, or are neurodiverse themselves. Is there set up a menopause social in your company or workplace, and then you can get together, you can compare notes, and you can support each other, and you don't have that isolation that you feel like you're the only one who can't do it and you're struggling. So there's things like that. I'm trying to think what else I can do, because I've not written any notes, so I'm just doing this off the top of my head. Taking regular breaks. If you feel your concentration is lacking, rather than sitting there, if you find yourself sitting there staring at a screen, not doing anything, try and get up and walk away. I used to work with a girl when I worked in theatre, and she used to walk around the corridors with a clipboard in her hand, because she said it made her look busy. She wasn't particularly doing anything. She'd be gossiping with other people on the corridor, but because she had a clipboard, people thought she was working. So I say, have a walk around, carry a piece of paper with you. Go walk to the photocopy. People don't know what you're doing. You don't have to tell them you're not doing anything. But just get up and walk away. Give yourself that couple of minutes break to recharge, get your brain sorted, and start again. Go back and start again. make sure, like I say, make sure you're drinking. Try and get up as often as you can. You're supposed to be getting up from your workstation at least every hour to change posture. If it's good for you, have a wiggle around and sit back down. Make sure you're drinking, you're keeping your blood sugar level. You're drinking, you're eating, you're keeping your blood sugar level. Get out at lunchtime, have a break, don't work through your lunch. If you're not paid for your lunch break, don't work through it. Go for a walk, get some fresh air, have a bit of exercise, because that will boost your endorphins, that will boost your serotonin, that will make you feel better. And getting out in the fresh air and the daylight will help you produce melatonin, which will help you sleep. And it's good to get away from the desk and forget about everything before you come back. And being out in nature, going out just listening to, the birds tweeting, or, the leaves rustle in the trees and things like that, it's good for you. I know there's certain jobs that, things like teachers, health service, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, that you may struggle with for things like flexible working and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean you can't have that discussion about what other things they can do, because they will be able to do things for you. Moving classrooms nearer to toilets if you're struggling with flooding and things like that, or giving you a walkie-talkie so you can get help if you need to. Before you go and speak to them, have a think about how they can help you. What can they do to help you continue for you to do the best thing possible? And then just say, I need to speak. I would like to speak to somebody about putting in some reasonable adjustments. And most employers are really supportive, because at the end of the day they want you in work, they want you to be doing the best job you can, because that's how they fund everything. If you start on things like HRT, it's remembering that it's not a magic pill. It's not starting on Wednesday, feel better by Thursday. It can take 3 months, and it may even take longer than 3 months. You may have to change the dose, you may have to change the type of HRT that you're having. So, if you're going to start on something like that, set the expectations right at the beginning with your manager. I'm starting on HRT. It could take 3 months before I feel better, but it may also take longer. It may be that it takes me a lot longer to feel better, just because it's on this. It may that it doesn't work. It may just take the edge off. I may still struggle. I don't know. There is no time frames. A lot of employers want time frames when they're going to be better. People are going to be better. You can't guarantee hormones. You cannot guarantee. And menopause is so different for everybody. Everybody has a different experience. Everyone has different symptoms. Everybody has a different intensity. So there is no, yes, you'll be okay in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 months. Everybody is very different. So set those expectations right at the start when you have those discussions. Yes, I'm going to the doctors to talk about HRT, but I know that it may take several months for it to work, or even after those months I may have to change something, or it may not work at all. Again, with CBT, you're looking at, usually the course is 6 weeks. So it's going to be potentially 6 weeks before it feels slightly better. Or if you're doing a coaching program, I'm doing this coaching program, but it takes, the course is so many weeks. So if you're going to put in changes and you do reviews, do them to the end of whatever you're doing. For example, like HRT, I'll review it in 3 months. If you're doing CBT, we'll review it in 6-7 weeks after you've finished your course, etc., etc. That way, if you're putting in a review period, it's saying to the employer that, yes, I need this for the moment, but I'm meeting you halfway to say, I am never going to do that again. I'm going to meet you halfway and go, I'm going to see how I am then, to see if I can do closer to what I was doing before. For example, working from home, if you're supposed to be in the office so many days a week, and you're struggling with those days a week, and you've dropped it down to, for example, 2 and you should be on 4, can we review that in 6 weeks to see if I can increase it, and then, can I increase it slowly? So there's, things like that. So I think that is everything. The main thing is communication, being open, being honest, and having those discussions. And if you feel you need support, go ask for, a recommendation, ask for a referral for occupational health. Like I say, if you do occupational health and they come up and you still don't feel like you're getting anywhere, you could say to them, can you help fund me to work with a menopause coach to try and get myself back? Because it would be cheap. It's cheaper for them to support you doing that, for you to leave, and for them to employ somebody else. Because it will cost them a heck of a lot more money to employ another person. And that other person may come in, they're going to have to get trained. They're going to go through probation. They may not even finish probation, so then they're going to have to go through the whole circle again. So you put it in a way that is going to save them money in the long term. This is going to be cheaper for you to fund, for me to work with a menopause coach, than it is for me to hand my notice in and you to get somebody else in that may not stick to the job. And you're also losing all the expertise that I've gained over my number of years that I've been working here. So there we go. I think that's it. So what I'll do tomorrow is I'll share the resource I've got for reasonable adjustments, speaking to your employer. I'll put that out, so if you're interested or you're struggling in work and you don't know where to start, get the resource. And if you still need any support, drop me a message. We can organise to have a little chat. I can have a little talk with you. We can talk through the resource. We can talk through what your issues are and how you can go about talking to your employer. And like I say, talk to them about funding for coaching. Do it in a way that it's going to benefit them. This is the thing that's going to help me get better, keep me in work more. It's going to reduce my absences. It's going to improve my performance. It's going to make me feel happier because I'm going to feel better. So that is that. So if you've got any questions, do drop them in the comments. I don't think we've got any questions as it is. I don't know if anybody's here. Oh, I don't know if there's quite a few views. So yeah. So like I say, any comments, any questions, pop them in. Do say hello if you've watched it. I'd like to, because it would be nice to get some feedback. I'm not going to pounce on you or anything like that. If you can give me some feedback. And again, if you're watching and you've got an area that you want help with or you want me to do a talk on, please do let me know. I want to make sure that I'm giving you I keep saying this, giving you the information that you want. I don't want to be, sat here talking for half an hour on stuff that's not of no interest to you. So, like I say, do let me know. No matter what you say, it's not going to be a stupid question. It's not going to be, oh, hi Emma, thanks for watching. It won't be a stupid question, and the chances are I may have thought of it before, and if you've thought of it, there's somebody else going to be thinking of it. And we all have different levels of understanding and things like that. So please do, let me give me some ideas, and just remember, Facebook have now started. It's said when you do lives, it's been doing it for months, and we'll delete this in 30 days. They are now deleting live videos after 30 days, so I'm trying to download them. And then I'm going to put them now into my YouTube channel, so that's at Julie Menopause Coach. At the moment there's only 3 in it, but I'm slowly I'm going to start uploading a lot of the lives that I've downloaded already off Facebook and put them in there, so you can go and catch them in there. So at the moment in there is my journey to becoming a coach. There's the crystal and essential oils live. And there's also me talking to Julia, who went through the menopause plan with me, so she's doing like a video testimonial. We're having a little sort of chat about it and how she's doing. what she got out of it and how she's still continuing to do some of the things that we did through the plan. And I think we did it about 12 months after she did it, so it was, you know, it's not just something that you do for the period of program, it's something that you carry on and do, sort of doing the lifestyle activities from. And it's certainly something I keep doing, it's something I continue to do as well. So I will download this video, so make sure you can catch it, and I'll put it in the YouTube channel. So thank you for watching. Like I say, don't forget, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. Let me know if you've watched it, give me feedback, and I will see you soon.